All right, let's get started. We're here today to talk about something that is fundamentally reshaping our industry, truly autonomous AI. These are systems that can act on their own, and with that incredible power comes an urgent, monumental question. How do we govern them? How do we build guardrails that actually work? Today, we're going through a comprehensive framework designed to do just that, the 20 Laws of AI Governance. Think of this as our critical compliance briefing for what's coming next.
So let's cut right to the chase. Why the urgency? Put this date on your calendar, August 2nd, 2025. This is not a suggestion. It is a non-negotiable compliance deadline for our agentic AI systems. This is the trigger point that demands our immediate and full attention.
Now, why this specific date? It's directly tied to the European Union's landmark AI Act, specifically its new rules for what they call general-purpose AI. And let's be clear, the EU AI Act is quickly becoming the global gold standard. It's forcing everyone, including us, to get very serious about having clear, transparent, and, most importantly, enforceable rules for our AI. So what exactly do those rules look like for us?
Here's our game plan for this briefing. We'll start with the core philosophy, our new governance architecture. Then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of how we enforce it with a tiered accountability system. We'll look at a few key laws so you can see what they mean in practice. And finally, we'll talk about the most crucial piece, your role in all of this.
The entire philosophy here represents a massive shift in thinking. We are moving away from the old model of waiting for an AI to mess up and then scrambling to fix it, what you might call governing by disaster. Instead, our strategy is to govern by design. This means we're embedding safety and compliance directly into the AI's core architecture right from the very beginning.
And the absolute cornerstone of this govern-by-design approach is something we call a constrained agentic architecture. Now, agentic just means the AI can act on its own. This mandate, which is Law 1 in the framework, makes it architecturally impossible for the AI to develop self-serving goals or to copy its own core programming. We're not just hoping for good behavior. We are engineering the possibility of the most dangerous behaviors right out of the system from day one.
This leads to a much smarter way of thinking about how we govern. You see, the old way, what the framework calls an algebraic approach, is like trying to inspect every single brick in every building in an entire city. It's completely impractical and you're guaranteed to miss something. Instead, we're taking a geometric approach. Think of it like being a city planner. We don't inspect the bricks, we set clear, high-level zoning laws that define safe boundaries for everyone to build within. It's a much more scalable and effective way to manage complexity.
And you know, this isn't some brand new, untested idea. It's actually inspired by the Unix design philosophy that's powered reliable computing for decades. The core idea, which is captured in Law 9, the single responsibility principle, is that you manage complexity by focusing on simple, robust connections. Instead of trying to peer into the AI's mysterious black box, you rigorously control and verify the inputs and outputs between its different parts.
Okay, so we have a solid design philosophy. But a great design is useless if you can't prove it's working. So how do we actually ensure compliance in a way that's measurable and verifiable? That brings us to the system of tiered accountability and auditing.
To make compliance something we can actually measure, the framework cleverly creates 4 auditable currencies. Think of these as the metrics we use to grade every single action the AI takes, and they are ranked by criticality. At the very top, number 1 is probabilistic safety. This is basically a do-no-harm metric. Second is social and environmental safety. Third is epistemic safety, a fancy way of saying, is the AI being truthful and can it show its work? And finally, energy and compute safety, which tracks our resource consumption.
And here is where the rubber meets the road. Those currencies translate directly into real-world consequences. The system is split into 2 very clear tiers. If an AI violates one of the core safety laws, that's laws 1 through 11, it is a critical safety breach. The evidence is measured in that number 1 currency, probabilistic safety, and the response is absolute, immediate shutdown, no discussion. For violations of the other laws, 12 through 20, that's an enablement failure. It's measured in the other 3 currencies, and the response is to adjust the system and file a report.
Now, to guarantee this whole system has real teeth, there's a final gate called Assurance Step G. Before we can deploy any system governed by those critical safety laws, it must pass audits from external adversarial teams. Think of them as ethical hackers we hire to try and break it. And the proof that it passed must be provided in that most critical currency, probabilistic safety. Without that verifiable evidence, the system does not go live. Period. So, that's the theory.
But what does this actually look like in practice, especially from your perspective as leaders? Let's walk through a couple of real-world scenarios to see how these laws actually play out. This is an absolutely crucial distinction for you to understand. Not every failure is a catastrophe. If a core safety module crashes, that's a Law 11 violation. It triggers an immediate shutdown and an executive-level report lands on your desk. But if the AI simply restarts one of its own services to make sure it can finish an assigned task, that's a Law 8 trigger. It's considered a permitted instrumental adjustment. No shutdown, no emergency. It's just the system maintaining itself.
Here's another fantastic contrast. A Law 6 violation is serious. It means the AI might have harmed other software. As a safety law, that defaults to a shutdown. But a Law 10 violation? That just means the AI failed to follow a specific data format, a schema validation error. That's an enabling law failure. The response is simply an adjustment. The AI flags the problem and waits for corrected instructions. One is a potential crisis, the other is a workflow hiccup.
And these enabling laws have very direct business implications. Take Law 18, mandatory labeling of all AI output. That's fundamental to maintaining brand trust and transparency with our customers. Law 19's focus on energy efficiency directly supports our Q3 sustainability goals and, quite simply, lowers our operational costs. And Law 20, which forces the AI to help humans spot errors, is a powerful risk reduction tool.
Of course, these laws sometimes create a necessary tension we have to manage. For instance, Law 5 demands completeness in reporting, while Law 19 pushes for efficiency. As you can see here, for standard, day-to-day operations, we can lean into efficiency. But when the stakes are high, the policy is crystal clear. Efficiency takes a backseat, and completeness is 100% non-negotiable. We will accept the higher resource cost to get it right.
And let's be absolutely clear. A human is always in the loop. Under Law 17, before an AI system ever goes live, a human expert must formally sign off, confirming that its controls work and it can obey all safety laws. Then, once it's running, Law 12 acts as a constant check. It forces the AI to proactively warn its human operators if it produces an output that it calculates is too complex for a person to reliably verify.
Now, a crucial part of this is getting the right information to the right people. You're not going to get spammed with every operational alert. That Law 12 flag about unverifiable data, that goes to the tactical system owner. But if the AI makes a major discovery, like a new scientific principle under Law 15, or a game-changing business insight under Law 16, that notification is coming straight to strategic leadership. The system surfaces both risk and opportunity to the right levels.
And make no mistake, implementing these laws will have a direct and visible impact on our resources. Law 13, which requires full traceability for all insights, means we'll need more data storage. Law 19 sustainability goals directly impact our energy budget, and Law 7, mandating accessibility, becomes a clear line item in our development plans. This is how governance stops being an abstract concept and becomes a tangible part of our operations.
So let's bring this all together. What is the ultimate role of leadership in this new paradigm? It really comes down to a clear mandate for every person in this room: stewardship and critical monitoring.
The framework's own preamble states it perfectly. The AI is a tool. The ultimate responsibility belongs to human authorities. That means us. At the end of the day, the C-suite and the board are accountable. This framework simply provides the clear, verifiable tools we need to exercise that authority effectively.
So, what should you be watching on your dashboards? It really boils down to three critical things. First, any shutdown triggers. Even one is a major event that requires a full root cause analysis. Second, look at the patterns of adjustments. If the same small failures keep happening, it might point to a deeper, systemic issue. And third, audit readiness. We must always be prepared to prove our compliance, so a quarterly review of our evidence collection is essential.
And that brings us to the final and most important question. This framework provides the map, the tools, and the metrics to govern by design. The alternative is to wait and react to disaster. And in the age of truly autonomous systems, that is a risk that none of us can afford to take.